If I ask you how much more radiation does penetrate your body today compared to like 10 years ago, is it twice as much, 3 times as much? No, it's a quintillion times more. That's a 1 with 18 zeros.
In France, they had some of the first adopters of Wi-Fi. Now they're recognizing that the Wi-Fi is potentially harmful to school children, so they're getting rid of it in elementary schools.
Could where you carry your cell phone make you sick?
Radio frequency emissions from the school's strong wireless network has triggered headaches, nosebleeds, and nausea.
Smart meters are replacing the analog meters on your home.
Some say such meters are making them sick.
Nobody has taken into account the cumulative radiation that we are all getting, especially children.
Had there been pre-market testing, cell phones never would have made it into the marketplace.
The manufacturers actually tell people in the instruction manual, which I never read, not to put the cell phone against your ear.
Radio frequency radiation are in fact cancer-causing and are perhaps a cause of neurological diseases and cognitive problems and developmental problems in children.
The wireless industry spends $100 million a year lobbying the Congress. So it's really hard to go up against the power of this industry, even when you have the facts on your side.
We urgently need more research. We have almost no U.S.-funded research in this area.
Scientists decided it was time to counter the industry claims that there is no evidence.
Good evening. The World Health Organization today said cell phones are possibly carcinogenic.
It puts it in the company of several other kinds of things like lead, as well as engine exhaust and chloroform.
These are all things that immediately will reduce your...
...to the presence of microwaves from a mobile phone. A metabolic reaction at levels well below the legal limit.
I would hold my cell phone here, and the tumor was right there.
I always held it on my right side, right here. The industry should have put these warnings on these phones a long time ago.
Studies like Professor Lashinsky's now allow top neurosurgeons to issue a stark cell phone warning.
It's essentially cooking the brain.
Clinical studies find young men who keep phones in their pockets have much lower chances of producing offspring, while women often store them on their chest.
I would just tuck it right in to my bra.
Tiffany France got breast cancer aged just 21, right where since childhood she's stored her phone. These spots mark the areas of Donna James's cancer. Her doctors call this a new breed of distribution that exactly matches where women keep their phone.
Multiple small cancers were confined to the upper inner aspect of the breast.
Millions, maybe billions of us constantly call, text, click, take pictures, and play on our cell phones. Even the top cellular radiation researchers from around the world have a hard time untethering. But they gathered recently in North Carolina to talk about cell phone concerns and whether they really do increase our chances of developing cancer. The panel voted that the results from years of testing on mice and rats were more significant than originally thought. They say they found clear evidence that phone radiation caused tumors in the hearts of rats, similar to tumors in people. And there are new concerns on the horizon. 5G is about to debut a stronger system of broadband. Some activists say the government has a responsibility to increase regulation.
Oldie leads AT&T's efforts.
If you don't already have one of these in your neighborhood, they're coming.
That's absolutely right. They're coming.
She says 5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds, but don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies. So instead of relying on large cell phone towers spread far apart, they need small cell sites that are much closer together.
We're going to use our existing infrastructure today, whether it's light poles, whether it's street lights. We're going to make sure that we don't make it obtrusive to our customers and to the citizens.
Yet some don't share the enthusiasm.
The cell towers are called small cell towers, but they're not so small when they're in your front yard.
Donna Barron is protesting plans to convert light poles in her Montgomery County, Maryland neighborhood into small cell sites.
This will cause cancer.
She was one of several people who raised health concerns at a government hearing last month.
This stuff is untested on kids. Their safety is not certain.
These untested technologies.
And Liz, as you know, throughout all of 2019, we've been hearing tech companies and cell phone companies talking about all the excitement about 5G and the race to get there first. But tonight in Moraga, they're talking about the fight against it. Many people here say they don't want it. Sitting at her home office, Ellie Marks has a device that measures her RF exposure. She's surrounded by campaign materials that she's used in a decade of pushing back against ever-expanding cell phone towers. For her, the fight is personal. Her husband started using a cell phone in 1986 and developed a brain tumor in 2008.
Used it all the time, held it to his right ear, and the tumor developed right where he held the phone.
Researchers do not agree right now about what constitutes safe RF exposure. The FCC and cell phone companies maintain radiation exposure from cell phones is not dangerous.
The FCC is lying to the public.
Well, Ken and Liz.
This is one woman's experience of living on the top floor under cell antennas for 2 months.
It started with my daughter. She initially got a rash on her leg that was sort of unexplainable, and when she was trying to explain to me what it felt like, she kept saying it was kind of funny because it wasn't hurting inside or on the skin. She said it was hurting in the skin. And then a few days later she got another rash on her arm, and then another small kind of stranger rash, and it was the same thing. And then one day in the kitchen she was holding something and she dropped it because she said it felt like the blood in her hand went cold and in a wave along her hand to her fingertips, and then her hand stayed numb for about 15 minutes. Some more of the symptoms include a sort of hissing in my ear, in particular when I'm in my apartment, but for about 3 days, anywhere I went, it would just sort of come in. I kind of felt like an antenna, and I'd sort of kind of go like, trying to find the place where the hissing or the buzzing stopped. I've not slept in my apartment since last Saturday, so a week ago now, and the buzzing went away after about 3 days, and also the feeling of tingling all over my body slowly started to go away, but I have noticed that whenever I'm in other buildings now or anywhere close to, I don't even know what, because I was never sensitive before. I'm no Luddite. I have computers, I have all the stuff that most of us have, and I've never been sensitive at all. But now wherever I go, I'm feeling the same as I felt in my apartment, feeling dizzy and nauseous and a sort of a metallic taste in my mouth, headache and pressure on my head, and just feeling like I want to sort of faint or throw up. And that's wherever I go now. So I found myself becoming increasingly sensitive to my own computer and my own cell phone in ways that I never was before.
Imagine the implications of...
Should you find yourself in Terminal B at Newark Airport, look up. Those aren't just new lights, they're smart lights, a sophisticated array of LED fixtures with built-in sensors and cameras connected over a wireless network. They monitor security, the flow of foot traffic.
Beginning in the fall of 2018, telecommunications companies began rolling out their fifth generation, or 5G, cellular networks. These networks will allow the future envisioned in sci-fi fantasies to finally come to life. But will this technological world of the future turn into a digital dystopia? 5G will herald what has come to be known as the Internet of Things. The IoT is the name for the growing list of interconnected digital smart devices. This includes everything from cell phones, coffee makers, washing machines, headphones, lamps, wearable devices, and almost anything else you can think of. The concept of the Internet of Things has been around for years, but now that 5G is coming to fruition, we will see an explosion of thousands of devices sending all types of data to each other.